Hello friends, I am Vanidas Mangathil and let us continue the practice of making loose streetscapes in watercolors. I'll be using an ink pen, waterproof ink pen for the drawing part of it, and we will be using simple washes, watercolor washes, and then adding some details. Okay, without further ado, let us begin it. I am using a cartridge paper. I think it is around 120 GSM or so, and I'm using a waterproof gel pen for the drawing part of it. I'm making a very loose drawing and drawing a car to begin with, and we are trying to draw something around the car. This is not based on any references, it is just from imagination. So I am thinking of some interesting elements like cars and figures, etc. And then I'm kind of drawing around it to create a complete context and a complete streetscapes. Okay, so some figures here, and the idea is to occupy this central area. Okay, maybe some guys walking, some guys riding bicycles, and maybe some more people here, maybe an auto rickshaw here. Some different elements. Okay, so keep practicing. Okay, try to develop your drawing skills. Try to keep adding elements in imaginary elements in your practices, and so that you get better and better with each of these drawings. The idea is to draw from memory, and while doing so, try to pay attention to the overall perspective. See, everything should have an overall synergy. They should all work together well. So that is the thing that I'm going to practice here. Okay, overall, I think this is looking good for me, and maybe we will treat the drawing part as done. Some lamp posts or some traffic lights may be better, so I'm just adding those things. These are something just I'm some ideas that I'm getting on the fly. Okay, while doing it, keep open your mind, and whatever ideas that you are getting, try to implement it. I mean, you don't have to implement each and every idea, but whatever you think is good, you can implement those things. Maybe an electric post I thought would be better. And the idea for me, the idea is that to simplify everything. Okay, even though in the drawing you may find a lot of things, but this is a very simplified version. I'm not giving any details for the buildings and other things. It is overall shape. Okay, I think this is good enough, and let us now go for the watercolor washes. Let us wet the sky area with clean water. It is not clean water, there is some residues of colors. Ideally, it should have been better if it was clean water. I think some gray color is already there in the brush. Now, on the wet area, I'm adding some cerulean blue so that we get some kind of a bluish sky. Okay. So the sky is good enough, and let us soften the sky. And as a part of simplification, I am trying to sort of merge elements together. Okay, while the sky is still wet, I am trying to define the far end elements so that they will have some softer edges. They will sort of merge together on the sky. I mean, with the sky, so that we don't have to do a lot of details. That is the kind of idea. A lot of those blue color of the sky will probably bleed down. Some of this darker color will get some kind of blue mixed with that, and overall I think it will create some sort of a synergy, some sort of blending will happen. And this, I am connecting all the shadow kind of shapes at the far end, so the darker tones under those awnings and in between the figures and the vehicles, all those are sort of connected. Even the vertical plane of the vehicle, those things are now connected. Everything is connected. The darker tones are connected now, and let us continue that and define some road. So I'm using some pale wash of burnt sienna, and I'm slightly controlling the tone and the tint or the shade of it. I'm making it a little warmer at some places, and as it comes toward the foreground, the bottom area, I'm adding a little bit of a bluish gray. Bluish gray means a little bit of Payne's gray, and some blue, cerulean blue or cobalt blue, whatever. Okay, now I think it is good enough. We have started with the sky and the background elements, and then we have also covered the road, and now let us define the right side building. So my idea is that this building will hit light, so I am making it very warm, clean kind of a color. And the other side building, the idea that I have in my mind is to make it darker in the shadow. Okay, and the bottom area of this building may be a little dirty, so I am making some uh, kind of slightly darker tones, because this area, the bottom area, will not get as much light as the top area is getting, so it may not be as bright as the top area, kind of. And this will also help me in connecting the previously defined shadow shape to the bottom area of the building, so that everything kind of blends well. That is the overall idea. Okay, there is no clear distinction between the front side building and back side building when it comes to the shadows. Okay, and let us make that awning with the red color, little bit of a mix of orange and red. And it's a cartridge paper, so it is drying fast, so the paper is almost dry already. So if you're using watercolor papers, you may appropriately, take gap between the brushworks, so that you will get the right way of blending the colors. Okay, I think this is good enough for now. The red color is kind of reflected on those figures underneath, and some splattering of water, so that it creates some texture. Right, some darker tones, kind of a grayish purple kind of a thing. I am using Payne's gray, little blue, maybe a touch of red, and kind of a dark purple, purplish gray sort of a color. Okay, this building is entirely in the shadows, so I am suggesting a single silhouette kind of a thing for the entire building. Some touches at the top side of it, so that it might suggest some of those elevational details, something at the top, some architectural details. And I'm also leaving some stripes of white, so that it might look like some of those windows or something. It's a simplified approach. I'm not clearly defining anything, but in the process I'm also trying to suggest some details like the windows I have mentioned, and everything is there. This also is a shadow, so all the shadows are sort of connected. And let us also connect the shadow that is falling on the road. See, the left side building will cast a shadow on the road, and that also is getting connected. So all these darker tones are kind of connected together. They are all the shadows are connected together. And some sort of cobalt green and Payne's gray color to suggest some of the domes. This is just an idea, okay, to make it little interesting. And this is the darker tones. I will add little bit of a lighter tones on the edge of it, on the light hitting area. Maybe here I will make slightly lighter color. Okay, some sort of color variation. On the area where it is getting light, I am making it slightly brighter in color, and then rest of the areas are in shadows. Here also there is a kind of a green kind of an awning there, and some of these backgrounds are very light now after drying, so I'm kind of darkening it a little bit, okay, so that they are a little bit more clearly defined. So I'm using a smaller size round brush for the details, and some of these shadows need to be darker, so that all those cars and figures are getting little bit more attention. Their edges are having more contrast, and they will get more attention. That is why I'm making those areas lightly darker. So the brand of colors that I am using as of now is Camel, an Indian brand artist watercolors, Camel artist watercolors, except for the cobalt green, for which I have used a brand called Aquatone. You can use any brand that is available with you. Please don't wait for the perfect tube of colors to start your painting. So you may be delayed a lot. So practice with whatever you have, and you can always improve by practicing. Okay, practicing is more important than getting branded materials. Okay, so you can't make as much improvements as you make with the practice with the branded materials. Okay, the practice is more thing. You have to invest time on your skills. Okay, so yeah, some traffic lamps and some darker touches here and there. So overall, even though it is a silhouette kind of an approach, little bit of suggestion for some ornamentation, some architectural details. Okay, this looks good to me, and see, some of these color mixes I am showing. Some of the color mixes I think I have missed capturing it in the camera, but I will be explaining all those color tones, that colors used as part of my explanation. Okay, some architectural details. This is ideally good as a dry brushwork, but since the paper is cartridge paper, it doesn't have any tooth or texture, so you may not get the right texture for the dry brushworks because of the smooth surface of the cartridge paper. If you're using watercolor paper, cold pressed watercolor paper, you will get better result actually. So since this is a practice, I'm not really worried about the result, the actual beauty of the final outcome. What I'm working for is the overall impression that is created, the essence that is captured. That is what I'm looking at this point. And in that effort, we are also simplifying. So I'm learning to simplify. We are learning to sort of capture the overall atmosphere and the overall perspective. Those things are, I mean, the target of these kind of small practices. Okay, so continue the practices. Okay, don't worry about the perfect, the final result. Even if it is not good, you would have learned a lot, even while making an very unhappy painting if you make. Okay. Some maybe some doors or something at the ground level. I think it is overall it is creating good illusion. And now let me make some details. I am adding some thick yellow color for the auto rickshaw. It is very tiny, so it is very difficult to actually suggest it properly. And some green color here. Right, I think this is okay. Actually, this is in the shadow area, so we cannot make it very bright in color. And this guy also, we cannot make it very bright, make him very bright because it is in the shadow area. And the colors that I'm using are just a few colors. Okay, just some cobalt green, some kind of some reds, some mauve color or purple color, etc., or blue, because I'm not too much worried about adding a lot of colors and making it very colorful. Okay, but if you want, you can change these colors. Okay, the colors for these figures particularly, because the colors that we use are the colors of their shirt or dress. So you can pick whatever color you think works good. I think overall this looks good to me. So whenever you are painting, don't keep focused on small areas. You have to keep focused on small areas while you are painting some minor small elements, but very frequently you should step back and see the overall image from a distance, so that you have to see that as a whole, as a complete image, everything is working together well. So that you need to ensure. So step back after a very few minutes and see it from a distance. I don't have any issue with that because I always stand and paint. I put the paper on the easel and then I stand and paint. So stepping back naturally happens with me. But if you're sitting and painting, you may have to take the burden of getting up and stepping a few, coming a few steps back and seeing the image from a distance. Okay. Right. These are very tiny brushworks, so you may find it little challenging to get it. So if you are making this much of details, ideally I would suggest you to go for a bigger size of paper. This is A4 size. I would suggest you to pick up at least A3 or even bigger size. Okay. This electric post. Everything is just a suggestion, very, very impressionistic, okay? Not too much of details. I'm using a liner brush for this, and I'm not getting good dry brushwork effect because it is not having, the paper doesn't have much of textures, okay? It is a smooth paper, cartridge paper. Maybe some details of this building also, some shadow tones, shadow areas, some touches of darks, some suggestion for perspective. This much is sufficient. Actually, those buildings should have a lot of details, but we are not adding any details, okay? Because those details may not contribute to the effect of the image. See, the overall effect is, what we are interested in is the kind of smaller elements around the horizon, the cars, the figures, and all those things. The rest other things may be simplified. That is what we did. These are tiny skin tones for the faces and the hands, arms, etc. And these are some thick applications, a little bit of an opaque treatment. And we have used watercolors picked up directly from the tube. This shadow may not be strong enough because he is already in the shadow. Now let us add some highlights using thick white color. So if you are a conventional watercolorist and don't want to use white, you can ignore this step. You can avoid this step. But I like this kind of highlights because it improves, it gives a lot of attention, to those fine small elements, small figures, the vehicles, cars, etc. All those things get more popped up and it is grabbing more attention. I think we are pretty much done. Okay. And some sort of minor suggestion for the far end building, right? So this is again some thicker application, white mixed with little bit of blue. Right. I think this is something that I might keep on doing, so we have to stop it. Okay, we should know where to stop adding details. Otherwise, your work may get spoiled after some time. Maybe some shadows of something here. I don't know. It didn't work. That this particular horizontal shadow, I'm not happy with that, but let us leave it. Some shadows on this buildings also, because some architectural kind of details for this. I think we are pretty much done now, and we can probably call this as done. Adding some kind of traffic lamp, red lamp. Okay. And what else? Maybe some final touches of highlights, and we can treat it as done. Okay, I hope this video was informative, and you could find it useful. So if you think that it is informative, and if it is helping you, please kindly subscribe to my channel and press the bell notification. If you have any question, suggestions or comment, please write them into the comment box below. And finally, if you think it can help your artist friends, please share this video with your artist friends and artist group, so that they also can take benefit of this video. So thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll soon see you with another interesting tutorial. And happy painting until then. Bye bye.